a global might have her shot.
I don't know. No, I think you're okay there.
Are you okay if I just put it beside me?
15.
Okay. Ross, you're good? Yeah.
15, Jason.
Can we start again?
10, 7, 5, 3.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming down. My name is Constable Jason Doucette. My last name is Doucette. I'm one of the media relations officers here at the Vancouver Police Department. This morning we're going to talk about a hit and run that occurred, and we're really asking the public to help us out here to identify the driver and the vehicle and have them come forward. At around 1:30 this morning, a couple in their 50s were walking on Commercial Street at East 41st Avenue. They approached a marked crosswalk where there was a flashing green pedestrian light. They hit the button as they're required to. The light turned red. They looked both ways and started crossing the street southbound. As they started going through the intersection, they get into the, I guess it would be the eastbound traffic, and they noticed that there was a vehicle coming at them at a high rate of speed. They both made attempts to get out of the way, concerned for their safety. Unfortunately, the vehicle, which we now believe to be a 2000 to a 2006 BMW X5, did not stop at the light and struck the 53-year-old woman, leaving her in critical condition. She's been rushed to a hospital where she remains. We're asking anyone with information about this 2000 to 2006 BMW X5. It's going to have front-end damage, and I'm going to hold up a piece. This is the actual piece of the grille that we recovered this morning from the collision scene. This vehicle is going to have obvious body damage. It's missing this piece, and there's no doubt in my mind that the driver is aware that they've struck somebody. They failed to stop at the scene of a collision. They did not call for help for anyone, and they kept going. They were last seen driving eastbound towards Victoria Drive. We're asking that driver to do the right thing, call our investigators immediately. I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have.
Constable, any update on the victim's condition?
I've been informed that the victim remains in critical condition at a local hospital, and the medical staff are doing their best to support the family and to get this woman well. We're asking members of the public, keep an eye out for this BMW X5 between 2000 and 2006. It's going to have some damage. It's going to be missing a front grille.
Can you tell us anything else about the vehicle, potentially color, light, or dark, or whether or not you may have been able to track it before or after the crash?
I don't have a specific color to share publicly right now. We want to make sure we get this right. We're looking for a video in the area. We may have located some video. If we have more specific information throughout the day, I plan on sharing that.
The woman's husband was with her in the crosswalk. What's his condition? What happened to him?
Physically, the husband was not injured. I can't imagine what he's going through emotionally. We are going to provide support to this family. We will look after the family, and we want the public's help in locating this vehicle and the driver responsible. We can't change that this collision has occurred, but you can take the right steps at this point and come and speak to the police and turn yourself in.
You mentioned that the car was speeding. Any sense of the rate of speed that it was traveling at?
I don't have a rate of speed at this point. I can tell you that the woman was struck in a marked crosswalk. The driver did apparently go through a red light. That's the information we have at this point. And I should say that's another important reason we need the driver to come forward, to provide us with additional pieces of information so we know their side of the story. Because at this point, we have one side of the story. But as far as the speed of the vehicle, I don't have one, but I can tell you that this woman was struck, and she traveled through the air for a considerable distance, causing traumatic injury.
How far do you think she traveled in the air?
I don't want to get into the specifics, but I would say greater than a quarter of a block.
Ooh.
Just once more, what do you want people out there to look out for, or to call in with right now?
So at this point, we're looking for a BMW X5. We believe it to be between the years of 2000 2006. The vehicle is going to have front-end damage. It's going to be missing one of the grills in the front. As you look here on the left side of me, this is a stock photo of a BMW X5. This is missing. I mean, as a driver, I drive every day. I know what my vehicle looks like. I know if I go over a speed bump, I can feel it. There's no doubt in my mind that this driver is aware that they struck someone. We're asking that driver to come forward. If your neighbor has this vehicle and you notice anything, when in doubt, call us, let us figure out if it's important. Okay, so if there's no other questions on that, I can move on and answer any sort of unrelated questions that you may have.
I was asked by the office to pose a few questions to you about another incident. That was a crash Thursday at Cordova and Jackson.
Sure.
Anything more you can tell us about that? Why did you pursue the vehicle at the time?
There was no pursuit at all. So we should get that straight out now. I know that there were some people that were reporting that there was a pursuit. They were speaking to some local residents in the downtown east side who were piecing together the puzzle. I can tell you that around 6:30, Vancouver police officers were in their vehicle. They attempted a traffic stop on a white Honda Civic. They activated their emergency equipment, lights and sirens at around East Hastings and Jackson. The vehicle took a left turn northbound onto Jackson and it appeared to be pulling over. And just as we do every day, we were conducting a traffic stop. As our officers pulled up behind the vehicle, it allegedly took off unexpectedly at a high rate of speed towards Cordova and apparently didn't even touch its brakes, tried to go through the intersection where it came into contact with a gray Audi. The collision caused the white Civic to spin around, come into contact with a utility pole, flip up onto its side, and the 4 occupants, 2 men and 2 women, were all inside the vehicle when we got there. The lone driver, so the only occupant of the Audi, was not injured. 3 people from the white Civic were taken to hospital with minor injuries. And we're investigating the driver who's, I believe, a woman in her 20s from Surrey for dangerous driving, evading police, and those sorts of driving-related infractions. But I can tell you there was no pursuit.
Okay, a new driver, a young driver?
My understanding that the vehicle was registered to a new driver, which comes with a number of driving restrictions, and that'll form part of the investigation.
It sounds like in this hit and run case today that the people crossing, the woman and her husband, did everything right. Separate from that, when we talk about it's dark this time of year, it's raining a lot, when we talk about pedestrians out there in this kind of weather, in this dark, where it's sometimes hard to see, what's your advice for pedestrians, maybe even if they're in crosswalks?
Well, road safety is a shared responsibility. It's not just the one responsibility of any of our road users. We all have to do our parts. So we ask that drivers don't be distracted. Pay attention. As you're approaching intersections, crosswalks, pedestrian control lights, expect to see pedestrians and play by the rules. For pedestrians, we ask that you cross where you're expected to be seen, whether it be at a crosswalk, at an intersection, but also make eye contact with the driver. Before you step off, don't assume that they see you. Those white lines in crosswalks are just that, they're paint. They're not cement barriers. And although you may feel that you have the right-of-way, we're asking that you take the time, pause for a second, make eye contact with the driver before proceeding. Same with cyclists. These all apply. We want everyone to play by the rules of the road to make sure that we all get to where we're going safely.
Now, when we talk about being darker this time of year, rainier, what does that translate to in terms of the response and the calls that you guys get in terms of pedestrian-related collisions?
We see an increase in calls for service when it gets rainy, when it gets dark. Things are slippery. We ask that people adjust to the road conditions. We ask that they, at night, slow down. You're going to need that little bit extra time to have a reaction, to be able to react to things that that come your way. Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions unrelated? Thanks for your time.